I will tell you what the PRX stands for.
All right.
I won't tell you what the JBV stands for.
Okay, I'll take it.
So you can get a little flavor.
All right.
So the PRX was Project Racer X. When I was a kid, one of my favorite shows was Speed Racer.
Oh, okay.
And Racer X was a character in Speed Racer.
Okay.
And so PRX actually stands for Project Racer X.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so Project Racer X is the PRX.
Right.
All right, so I appreciate you letting me in a little bit into the mindset of Mark Hargett, Target with an H. So here, real quick, and I'm gonna let you go in a minute. So
No problem.
I thought the pads on the PRX were stainless steel. Were they aluminum?
The pads on the PRXs are aluminum.
Okay, so they just look stainless steel. Okay. All right, so everything is that 6061T6 aluminum.
The pads on the JBVs are stainless steel.
Oh, I got you. Okay, so can I assume that made them lighter and just as strong, or what was the big deal there?
Yes, lighter and just as strong.
Okay. And I know you were proud that they had the curve, etc. So here we go again, and I hope you're not offended by this.
No,
I was so in love with the PRXs, and I just didn't want to like the JBVs. Now, to me, the JBVs are, aesthetically speaking, the hottest looking pedals I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be offended. It almost makes my PRXs look like a mass-produced prototype. Like you were all like this was going to be the end version anyway. With the I'll say this much: it doesn't show up on a website or in pictures nearly as well as in real life. When you put these next to each other, the JBVs almost make the PRXs look crude. When in fact, I thought these were the hottest thing. They were the most beautiful pedals I had ever seen. Shy of those big Italian things that I've never seen in person.
It's funny. I've been told that by everyone who's seen the JBVs in person. When you see them in person, they are incredible. I totally agree. You know, when I never had any, I thought I was going to retire with the PRXs.
Oh, okay.
You know, they were very successful. Everyone loved them. They were hot. And nothing to really complain about, you know? But when you put them next to the JBVs in person, it's like the JBVs are F1 and the PRXs are like 1980s NASCAR.
I promise you, I felt that exact same way. So you've really hurt my feelings with this, because I was so in love with them, and now.
But the thing is, I have to say one thing. My pedals are probably be said to be known to be really, really cool looking. I'm not offended by that, and that's part of what I do is design things that are aesthetically badass. But that by no means whatsoever detracts from or says that they don't perform. That's my thing. My whole thing in any product I've ever designed is functionality and aesthetics. It's not aesthetics and they might, be okay. They perform as well as they look, and that sometimes I see people saying things about the aesthetics, and I don't know. I just want to be very clear that the design is for functionality and aesthetics. It's not for just aesthetics.
Well, you did an awesome job, definitely. And then maintaining the performance and putting it in a smaller, lighter, and more attractive package. That was pretty much a huge feat, especially. So let's talk about the individual pieces. Well, let's talk about durability versus reliability. Now, you made some commentary around. You made a couple of changes, I believe, you made a change to the throttle. You changed something that was a plastic piece to a metal piece, a ball bearing or something.
Right.
And now, was that for improved reliability or durability? If you follow what I'm trying to say, is there's a difference between reliability and durability?
I guess to me, durability and reliability is kind of synonymous and one and the same. I mean, you want the pedals to perform and function.
Well, I guess reliability meaning prone to fail, durability meaning just will last that much longer. You see what I'm saying? So was that piece of metal trying to prevent
Well,
a known failure or weakness, or go ahead.
Let's put the discrepancy of our definitions of durability and reliability aside. The reason why I did that was because on the PRXs, I found that after years, many uses, like, trust me, if it happened regularly, I would have had a problem. But I did notice that after extended uses, the little plastic tip, it's a set screw with a plastic tip sprung-loaded ball that comes in contact with the membrane pot, and that plastic tip would wear down. And eventually, after that extended use, you would have an erratic throttle. And it's easy to replace. It's not that big a deal, but it's one more thing that, if you can improve it,
right,
let's do it.
Got it.
And, so now, instead of that plastic tip, there's a round ball bearing that rolls on the membrane pot. So that should never wear out. It certainly won't wear out anywhere near the time frame that the plastic tip did. So that was just a little improvement to the reliability / durability for the long-term use.
Gotcha. So to back to that original argument. So you answered it by saying it's more durable. Got it. That's what I was trying to drive at. So now that you brought that up, that makes me ask this question. So if I keep the PRXs, are you still making production parts? I mean, or
for the PRXs?
Pardon?
For the PRXs?
Right. Correct.
No more production parts.
Replacement parts. Like how long? There you go.
I still do replacement parts.
Okay.
I still will continue to support the PRX. There's a lot of them out there. You can remember, there's over 1,000 of them out there. So I have to support those, and I will, of course.
Okay. What if you had to put a shelf life? What do you think the shelf life for my PRXs?
I don't know.
Well, no. For your support for them.
Well, I give lifetime support for original owners,
Gotcha.
or original purchasers. If you're not an original purchaser, to be honest, I kind of play it by ear. Most people I still support as if they were an original purchaser. Gotcha. It all depends. I've had people that buy a set that need a lot of work. They've been totally abused, and they're basically they need a whole new rebuild. They buy them on eBay for who knows what, right. And then they come to me and say, "Well,
right.
Can you fix my pedals?"
Right.
And they want me to literally rebuild the whole unit,
right,
for free.
Right.
And I say, no, I can't do that.
Right.
If you take that, and a lot of people say, well, that shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter if you're the original purchaser. Oh, really?
Right.
So if you take that logic out, you're saying that in 50 years from now,
Right.
that I am supposed to support and give money and time to a person that could be, 8, 10, 15, 20 users down the road for that product?
Yeah, that's not feasible. I can appreciate
That's not reasonable in any business. Right. I don't care. That's just, I can't do that.
And I guess the long and short was, I was trying to make sure, because that there will be future support. So obviously you're going to be making replacement parts, be able to keep them running, right? Because I think just by default, and the whole purpose of I guess me trying to put this little video together was because I'm confident I am not the only one. There are other people out there with PRXs trying to decide, oh my gosh, what's going to happen?
I said, there's over 1,000 of them.
Right. Are these obsolete now? And should I try to transition over now so that I'll have a product with a longer shelf life? But I think you just answered that question.
Yeah.
You should hang on to them.
Frankly, that's kind of one of the benefits I have, in that I don't know of any other sim manufacturer. I certainly don't know of, there are no other sim pedal manufacturers. There are sim pedal assemblers. They will design maybe and source the components, have components made for them, assemble and sell. I don't do that. I manufacture. I buy raw materials, machine them, and I make everything myself. So what I'm saying is to stock components for a previous series like the PRX, I can do that more easily because I am the manufacturer.
Gotcha.
For someone who doesn't manufacture, they would have to spend money on product that they are not even going to plan to sell. They would literally have to buy those products, put them on the shelf for future support. So since I'm the manufacturer, it's kind of an advantage for me. So it will allow me to support past series without any problem.
So let me ask you this, and I'm about to close up. And I don't even think this is a question I should ask, because I kind of answered it myself. Well, the question I want to ask is, can you interchange PRX and HBV products? Can you have, like a JBV clutch and PRX throttle and brakes?
Yeah, there's the only thing that is interchangeable really are the bumpers. You can use, because you notice, the new custom molded polyurethane bumpers on the JBVs.
Right.
You can use those on the PRXs, but that's it.
Got it.
It was a completely clean sheet of paper design, so there's no interchangeability aside from the bumpers.
Well, let's pin the bumpers for a second, because I believe those are the star of the show.
They're pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, those are the stars. So we'll come back to the bumpers. So let's kind of just go through, because I think we talked about the throttle. It has greater durability. Let's slip over to the clutch, because at first I thought I liked the the PRX clutch better. And I really, usually when I do, I don't really professionally do reviews per se. This would be my first. but I've gone through so much equipment. So unofficially, I do reviews in different private groups on Facebook because I'll have my equipment. I'll take a picture, post out, look at what I have, and then people will ask me my opinion. So that's kind of how I grew into, let me share on Facebook or whatever and let everybody see it. So my initial response was I thought I liked the bigger clutch. I thought it had more feel at first when I did it with my hand. And I thought that I would want to retain the PRX clutch. I definitely like the JBV brake better. And to me, the throttle is net zero. They seem completely consistent with each other. But if you tell me one has one little piece in it that might get me an extra year or two before it dies 5-10 years from now, I would obviously opt for that one. So that's why I was going to ask if I could interchange them. But now after running the JBVs for, probably I've had them a couple weeks now. That clutch, I don't know what to say. You did the same with less. You made it so instead of that big butterfly thing that flexes in and out or whatever, in and back, the little rocker thing, when I measured it, it's the same distance. So it seems to be, correct me if I'm wrong, the same amount of throw from the pressure point to the stop dead pedal and back. But you did it in it. Obviously you're engineering marvel or what have you. I see how you did it. I don't know how you did it, but they in my opinion are the equivalent in a smaller, cleaner, more aesthetic, better looking package. Correct?
Yep. It's funny because you know what you basically just said is what I would totally agree with, and I would hope that most people find, in that the throttle is pretty. Let's just talk this functionality. Forget aesthetics. Functionality right now. Throttle's pretty much a wash. The JBV is going to perform and function just like the PRX. It should feel pretty much the same. The brake should be a little bit better. There's some internal kind of secret sauce stuff. You might notice I really never talk about my hydraulic stuff too much because I don't like to tell people, frankly, how it's designed. There's too many people out there that love to copy things. And so I don't typically talk about my hydraulic design, what it involves, what's actually in there, what I do, what I don't do, etc. Okay. But I have done some improvements in the brake that the JBVs are a little bit better. The clutch is similar to the PRX, but different because the mechanism itself is different. The design aspect of that clutch mechanism was one of the most hardest things to come up with and took a lot of time to try to get to this feel that we all want in that kind of a small package. It was no small feat. I'm very proud of that. But
that was impressive because I mean it changed the size so much. And to do all of that in fractions of the same size, I was like, you can't argue with that. It works. It works. It's smaller. It's lighter. It's better. It's performance-wise, it's the same. I don't see why you wouldn't go with it.
I wouldn't claim that the clutch is better than the PRX. I would say it's different. Because it does feel a little bit different. I would say it feels very good for what I wanted.
Oh, okay. Well, I might have misspoke. I'm saying they're consistent.
Yeah,
they're the same. To me, they are the same.
The funny thing about the clutch is, out of all three pedals, the clutch feel is actually the most by far subjective pedal of all three. What I mean by that is, because I've talked to a lot of different users and what they say and feel, and I've seen a lot of posts and blah, blah, blah. And you can ask 10 different people about how they want the clutch to feel, what kind of a pressure profile, how it acts. You can ask 10 different people and get 12 different opinions. That's because everybody thinks of, well, first of all, a clutch pedal will feel very different between, a Formula landing car, a stock car, an F3 car, a sports car, Formula V. You go across the spectrum of race cars. You think all those clutch pedals feel the same? No, they don't. Not to mention, none of them feel like a road car. So there is no designing a sim racing clutch pedal that's going to please everyone, because you cannot have a single clutch pedal design that feels like all race car pedals, because all race car pedals don't feel the same. So you have to come up with something that feels as close as you can to accommodate the general feel of what people think a clutch should feel like. But it's funny, the clutch pedal is very funny. People are very opinionated and subjective. I've had people that say, my clutch pedal is the second coming, and it's like, oh my God, how did you do that? I've had people say, that's the worst clutch feeling pedal I've ever had in my life. It's been that broad of a range. And so I think when you consider those points that I was just saying about, the difference in clutches throughout race cars, etc., all you can do is try to give it your best shot. And I'm pretty happy with the JBV.
Right. And what I'm about to say is probably like sim racing heresy. I have not adjusted these pedals ever. And so, because here's what you don't get to do unless you are driving a race car for a race team. When you drive a car, if you own a Honda Accord or BMW, I don't care what it is, the car is the car. You jump in the car, you drive the car. You don't get to adjust the brakes. You don't get to adjust the throw unless I'm leaving something on the table with my car. But so I've not adjusted these. But the other thing, and I guess I didn't include this in my assessment. Not only are the JBVs lighter, just as strong, the same performance, aesthetically superior. They are unreal, just hot. They also have additional and quieter as well. They also have additional versatility and flexibility. It's easier to adjust them, at least the brakes, and it seems to have more adjustability and better dampening. So you have like 5 different what do you call them, stoppers? What are those little squishy things?
The bumpers.
The bumpers. You have a ton of those bumpers now, so you can really dial in what you want.
Right.
But for me, like I said, heresy, I think I changed the bumpers. I have 2 reds. I think you start out with a red and the black with the PRX. And I put a couple of washers like Barry suggested. That is the only thing I changed on the PRXs. I've never adjusted I think I put a stronger spring in because I bought the spring set on the throttle. Then I put it back to what it was because it was it pushed too hard. It was too hard to stay full throttle, and it was too hard to really pick a sweet spot when when I'm trying to throttle steer, what have you. So I'm not like those guys who love to tweak, and that's not me. I guess because usually I drive different cars, and when you jump in somebody else's car, you don't get to adjust. You have to adjust to the car. So
Exactly.
I've tried to adjust myself to these pedals, and they feel great. And what I also don't want to do is make an adjustment and screw them up and can't get back to it. But I think now I will, once I figure out whether I'm going to keep the JBVs or the PRXs, I will start playing with them more, because I've getting into this a review or whatever. I've gotten to know them a lot better, both of them, and I think maybe I could do something if I tweaked it. But what I didn't want to do was to start making changes to my PRXs, and now my level set starts to move on me. So
right,
because I usually, and I think I was going to say this earlier, I would throw these, now that I have the JBVs on, I would throw them out and put the PRXs back in, just to get an A to B to A comparison.
You're right.
Because you always kind of forget where you came from. And yeah, of course, these are new. You're going to think they're great. But if you go back to A and say, well, I've been with B for the last 2-3 weeks, do I have to have those? Or can I live and stick those in a box and sell them? So last two questions, I'm going to let you go. So the rubber, you spoke a lot about the rubber piece, the padding, that goes on the pedals.
The non-skid that goes on the pads?
Correct. There we go. So on the PRXs, it seemed as if this was a permanent fixture.
No.
So they can be peeled off.
Go ahead.
They can be peeled off?
Yeah, it's actually the same material, the exact same material.
Okay, gotcha.
So it took me a while to find this stuff. I love it because it's, some of the non-skid is kind of like a sandpaper with a adhesive back, which is extremely non-skid, but a lot of people race in socks, etc., and it's just too abrasive. This stuff is non-skid. It gives really good gription, I think, without being too abrasive. But the adhesive stuff on the back of it allows you to put it on, take it off, put it on, take it off without leaving a sticky film, like a glued film on the pedal pad itself. So, but it's the exact same material between the JBVs and the PRXs. It's just, of course, a different shape for the different pedal pads.
Got it. Now, I said last question, I lied. I didn't do this yet, but it looks like the springs are different sizes. Are they the same size?
No, they're the same.
Okay, I don't know. I guess the receptacle for the PRXs is larger, so it gives the impression that the spring is larger.
Same exact primary spring.
Okay, gotcha. All right, then that was a non-issue. Scratch that question.
But of course, on the JBVs to change a spring, you've probably seen in the video, you just push the button in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was great. That was awesome. Again, quicker adjustability, more flexible, more versatile, etc. So the bumpers, they to me are the star of the show. How much of the improvement do you think is attributable? Is that a word? Attributable to the bumpers alone?
For the brake.
For the brake, right? Because what I haven't done, but what I'm probably going to do is take these bumpers off the PRX. No, I mean the JBVs, and slap them on the PRX just to see what type of improvement I get. And if it gets me close enough, we are just going to see exactly how long it takes for that little plastic piece to wear out of that throttle.
Yeah. Well, that's what you asked, what's the percentage? That's a subjective thing. I don't know how to really quantify that. I would say maybe close to half.
Really? Okay.
Because the improvements on the hydraulics of the JBV are there, but they're very they're very fine tuned. We're talking, do you like Chablis or do you like Cabernet? And do you like an old Cabernet or do you like a younger Cabernet? It's that kind of a very small difference. It's
Right.
there, and some people can appreciate it. Some people, it's the same damn glass of wine kind of a thing.
Got you. Okay.
But the bumpers, of course, they're applicable to either JBVs or PRXs.
Right.
And I mean, I've wanted those bumpers for many years. I've tested many different bumper materials, and the PRXs I used silicone and neoprene. Silicone was the soft, neoprene was the hard. I had tested polyurethane numerous times and loved it. I love the feel of the polyurethane, and it has a really good organic feel to it, but it's a bitch to work with material wise. And so the only way I could really do it is if I could have them molded like I did. And that's very expensive to have a rubber piece molded like that. And so it was just a matter of working up to be able to absorb that cost, to be able to have them custom molded. So I love them. I think I don't know if I would say they're the star of the show, but I'm very happy with them, and I think they're a really good add-on to the product base for sure.
Right. I'm of the opinion everyone who's purchased the PRX need to, if nothing else, come back and get those.
Yeah, I've been selling a lot of them to the PRX user for sure.
And then, and I lied. This, I promise you, is the last question. You had to have. Well, I assume you went. You machined up, because the look of these compared to the PRXs, it's like I don't want to say night and day. I want to say the JBVs are evolutionary, not revolutionary, but aesthetically they're almost revolutionary. Because it looks like you may have hand chiseled the PRXs, but you laser cut. You got a laser and I don't know what it is that you use to do this, but did you have to, or were you just able to learn how to use your old equipment in a different way to now produce the JBVs in such a diamond accuracy type of manufacturing look?
It's all of the above.
I got you.
It's all of the above. It's manufacturing with CNC equipment and tools. I mean, there's so much that goes into that. You wouldn't believe it. Everyone thinks it's extremely simple. You're right. You just push the button. Oh my God. There's so much that goes into it. So the more you do it, better you're going to get. There's a little bit of that. The design of the JBVs, again, because I design and manufacture, I get to take into account the manufacturing process when I design. So when I'm designing the shape, the little cutout here, or the whatever it is there, I'm already envisioning and thinking in my head, how am I going to machine that? If I changed it a little bit, could I machine it better? Would it be more conducive? That kind of a thing. So it's just, all in all things considered, they're better like that.
Awesome. Well, I've taken up too much of your time. We're well in excess of an hour. I had no intention of going that long.
Oh, no worries.
But when you say that, the manufacturing, how big is your manufacturing? What do you call it? Lab or plant?
Shop?
Or your shop? How big is it?
It's not that. I think I got 2,000 square feet.
Okay.
But I have it's a lot of money in machinery. I have a full-on 22 tool, dual station CNC lathe. I have a full vertical machining center with 4th axis rotary. I have a 1 kilowatt fiber laser machine. I have a 150 watt CO2 laser machine. I have a fully automatic CNC bandsaw. So you start adding up this equipment, and it's a considerable investment for sure. But it's the only thing. I mean, if you want to produce, if you want to manufacture, you gotta have good tools. It's kind of like if you want to sim race and you want to compete at the top levels, you gotta have good equipment.
Right. So I'm not a real technical type of guy. All those were a lot of big words. I learned kinesthetically, which is why I buy a lot of stuff, because I have to feel it to understand how people describe this stuff. It doesn't resonate with me. But when you said all of those words, it produced a vision. So now you're in California, right?
Yeah.
What part?
Southern.
I'm geographically challenged. At any rate, if I am ever on that side of the country, which I get over there, not quite often, I would like to come visit.
Oh, anytime. I'd love that. I always love showing customers. I have some local customers too that, say, hey, if I buy a set of pedals, can I come up and, pick them up and check out your shop? No problem. I'd love that. I was thinking it'd be kind of cool if I, get some time, is to like do a shop, excuse me, like a shop tour video.
You're already you're ahead of me. You're already you're ahead of me. I don't think you caught up. You already were there. All right. So we'll let's put a pin in that one as well. I'll let you go for now. I really appreciate you taking the time out to allow me into the mind of Mark Hargett and HPP and the company, and the evolution, the evolution of the pedals, and the fact that you are this person now. I don't want to put but it seems like your cell phone number is out everywhere anyway.
So it is. I had an office number that I had for years, but I've just, it's easier to just have one phone number and one number to deal with.
I got you.
And when you have an office number, it's like yet another thing that you have to manage and do. I've got enough things in my life to manage and take care of and monitor. So I just use my cell phone.
I got you. Well, I didn't want to, expose you too much, but this is a very unique experience where I don't really, you don't get to talk to the engineer, the progenitor, the person who thought of it, who made it. How many employees do you do this all yourself, or you have?
I do it. No, it's all myself. Wow. I have some help for some of the. I have a person that comes in sometimes and helps me run them, load and unload the machines, but it's 99% me. I don't want a bunch of employees.
Right, it's just nobody's going to do it like you do it.
Exactly.
Right, I got you. And then for the amount of time it takes you to train them to do it like you do it, you could have done it, and then when they leave, you got to do it all over again. I got it. I understand. I appreciate that. Okay, Mark, I feel like I am really overstepping, so I'm going to let you go. We will be in touch as soon as this goes out. I'll bounce it off of you first to make sure you're comfortable with everything. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, give me a call back in the interim. I can't express enough how grateful I am for this opportunity to get to know you, get to know your company, and get to know this product that much more.
Sounds cool, man. I have no problem talking to my customers, and I appreciate your time as well. So we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Mark. Thanks, buddy. All right. Bye. Wow. Don't know what to say. That was incredible. That was awesome. All right, so now let's get to, I think what we need to do now is as much as I love the JBVs, I feel it's only fair to put the PRXs back on and give them a chance to no, I don't know. It's, you know what I think I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just flip a coin. No, what I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let the marketplace decide. Whichever one sells first, that's what I'm going to let go. Whichever one, because to me, they're neck and neck. Clutch, I think it has something in it that can make it more durable too. Maybe, I don't know. The brake is definitely better. I do like the brake. And the spacing, I meant to ask him, but obviously the spacing, you get more spacing. I think the JBVs are a keeper. I really think they are a keeper. For me, at least, the spacing. I just feel more comfortable with the ability to be, give me a couple inches more girth between my legs. I think that's going to be the that is going to be the differential that's going to, I believe, keep the JBVs on my rig. So, race fans, there you have it. Mark Hargett, HPP, the PRXs versus the JBVs. You heard it from the man himself. What more could you ask for?